I think that we spend a lot of time arguing about particularly what the acronym is. Is it DEI? Is it JEDI? Is it DNI? Is it IDE? All these things. I think it's a shame that we spend so much time on the acronym. So one of the biggest pitfalls that I see is tokenism. Often if we run a board which is entirely white or entirely black, let's face it, happens, and you want a quick win to try and bring in diversity, new ideas, new perspectives, a different way of thinking into the business, then the instinctual action is to do the equal opposite, right? Newton's third law of motion, the equal opposite reaction. So you might bring in a load of people who don't match the profile of your business. Now, most businesses today operate on what we call a culture fit model, which is effectively everyone in the business is good and everyone outside the business is bad. And then if anyone who comes in, they have to then align to the culture and the strategy of the business to become good. But that's not what we see around the world and in human identity in general. The Human Genome Project proved this. We're all effectively born equal. So there is no good inside or outside, and there's no bad inside or outside. Everyone's just different. So the best strategy for me, I would suggest is try and find where your skills shortages are, try and find out what your perspective gaps are, and try and find people. They may look the same, but try and find people who have a completely divergent view to what you as an individual and as a leader, but also as an organisation have. And try and find people whose skills and experiences match and can plug those gaps. If you do that, you'll never be accused of tokenism, and you will find that the ideas and the success and the customer excellence will flow from there. Now, or inevitably, they will look and sound different, because that is just how different experiences shape our identity in our world and ourselves. But as long as you are doing it for the right reasons, i.e. merit, and not just for nepotism or because you want people to look and sound like you, to reassure you, it's very reassuring. It builds your confidence. If everyone around you reflects you, then you feel like you can belong. But actually, it's not the look that really matters, it's what's inside us. And you find a huge amount of diversity, intrinsic diversity in people, as well as extrinsic diversity. So I would say dig deeper, ask people real questions, not just where did you work, what skills have you got, talk about a time. Ask them about their beliefs, their opinions, the things that matter to them, what their hopes and dreams are in life, who their role models are, things that allow you to really get to grips with how they think and how their mind works. And you'll suddenly realise how much rich diversity there is underneath the surface. It impacts at workplaces in almost every fundamental level. So I'm a psychologist by degree, and I'm also a certified therapist. So I look at part of my job now as a consultant is to look at these dynamics and work out where a firm's strategy could be going wrong. If you're in a room with people who are either scared of you or just reflecting you, then all you're going to hear back is an echo of what you already think. But occasionally someone will come in and they will say something completely divergent. And it's then up to whether you embrace that or whether you penalise that. But if you, to give a crude example, if you're a train driver, or no, let's go with plane driver, pilot, you're flying your plane, you only have a field of view that's ahead of you. So you might see clear skies and the plane's flying great. But if you're a passenger and you're over the window seat, looking out the wing, you might look out the window and you might notice that one of the engines is on fire. And this, I saw this from a documentary. It actually happened. A passenger pointed out of the window and said the engine's on fire. No one on the plane knew that. It was the passenger's perspective, because they could see a line of sight that no one else could see. And so I really think that translates into business, this concept of groupthink. If we look at the Challenger space shuttle disaster, we had there an example where all 12 NASA engineers were older white men, heterosexual presenting, non-gender, non-physically or neurodiverse, but at least not presenting as such. And therefore very similar in terms of their background, the way they thought, the schools they've been to, and they all of them universally agreed that the cold weather at the time of launch would fatally impact the O-ring securing the Challenger boosters to the rocket. But they all opted not to submit that in their report to mission control because they all wanted the mission to be a success. Now, if you had someone in there who was a bit divergent and who could stand out and had a reason to do so, maybe they looked a bit different, or they had a different background, or they had a different responsibility, they might have had the wherewithal to jump in and say, we are going to just kill everyone if we do this. Let's do something else. So I really do think that it's not just about, I'm not undermining the people in that room. They're all clearly rocket scientists. But you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that you might also need someone in that room who thinks differently into you in order to have the big picture, to cover all bases. So that's really what I'm about. I'm about trying to explain to people that this idea that difference is bad, it's not bad. In fact, if you are really confident and you want to do the best job possible, you should welcome scrutiny and you should welcome different ideas. The worst thing about a different idea is that it might be wrong. But the best thing about it is that it can open your eyes to an element of a project or a business or a product that you've never even thought about, and you can make it phenomenally 10 times, 100 times better just by listening and acting on those different opinions rather than shunning them and being scared of them. I think so. Diversity and inclusion has existed for a few decades now. It started as sensitivity training in the 70s, and it's slowly morphed into what we now call DE&I. I'm a little uncomfortable about it because I think that we spend a lot of time arguing about particularly what the acronym is for. Is it DEI? Is it JEDI? Is it D&I? Is it IDE? All these things. I think it's a shame that we spend so much time on the acronym. Ultimately, what DE&I fundamentally is at its heart is humanism and humanity, the science of humanism and humanities, which is where, well, I consider myself a subject matter expert. We don't need an acronym. In fact, if you look at human, we don't. For the same reason we don't like our names being mispronounced. We don't call our kids acronyms. We actually don't like acronyms. It's not something we don't give acronyms to people we love, and yet we've given an acronym to effectively humanity. I don't think diversity is that important. And I'm going to stick myself out on a limb here and say, from the shape of your earlobes to the size of your feet, everything about you is different. And it's not just different, it makes you unique. There will never be another person like you. And there never has been before. That it makes you phenomenally special, and all of us different. What we really care about is our uniqueness. No one, I think, really cares about diversity. It's that uniqueness that we need to harness. That's everything from whether you're watching a Formula One race to if you're looking at the Fortune 500 or you're watching X Factor, whatever it is, it's uniqueness that wins every single time. And that plays out in every single aspect of our lives. From the biggest scientists in the history to the best power ballad singers, they are one of a kind. You will never get another Whitney Houston or Adele. And those artists are really a shining light to all of us. It's really the uniqueness within us that we all care about. Because once they're gone, they're gone.